Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then hi, my name is Erica, and today, once again, I'm going to be talking about the Dad Challenge podcast. So I'm gonna give a bit of a disclaimer that this is kind of old news, cold tea, if you will. I don't see it as like drama or tea. I see it as bigotry, but call it what you will. But the thing was in like April and May, I was in the midst of finals and getting ready for my sister's wedding, so I didn't have a lot of time to record the videos, but now I do. So I may be catching up with some older stuff, but it's stuff that I find to be important. Like, I'm not just gonna cover something petty that I don't really care about. But this is about the Dad Challenge podcast's coverage of the Saccone or the Saccone-Jolys. They are a family vlogging channel, and they recently had a child who came out as trans. Now, the Dad Challenge podcast had a lot of thoughts on that. I do agree with him that them sharing their child's story and their journey of figuring out who they are is exploitative. I believe that everybody should be able to tell their own story on their own terms, and the parents in this situation are kind of hijacking this story to capitalize off of it because it gets a lot of clicks and views and also controversy. But I don't agree with his perspective on him believing that you should just wait and see with your child. Trans rights and trans issues are really big issues because it deals a lot with mental health and safety, because if somebody is not able to be who they truly are and express themselves, that can really put them in danger because of things like S-word, like, you know what I mean, unaliving oneself. I cannot use that word on YouTube, but trans people face a lot of discrimination. They face ostracization. They face people who tell them they're just confused. And I am cisgender, so I am just looking at this from a perspective of somebody who does not deal with it personally, but I do believe something needs to be said about how he talks about trans issues and how he talks about people with different identities than him, because I do believe that his background with the church really clouds his judgment on these issues. Josh recommended a book that is extremely transphobic and paints trans identities as like a mental health issue, or that people are just confused, or now that it's become a bit more socially acceptable to be trans, people are jumping on that bandwagon. First of all, while
So he's saying it didn't take long for Eduardo to draw to his sister clothes. My son wears his sister's like costumes all the time. This is a really tough topic for me, specifically because I come from a church background, right? Where I stand on this issue overall, and after reading books like Abigail Schreier's book and all that, and reading other articles for and against trans issues, where I've landed is like I usually do in most things, is right in the middle.
While times have changed, it still is extremely dangerous and difficult to be trans. Trans people are killed at higher rates, and they are killed for just being who they are. Trans people unalive themselves because of the discrimination they face. They get kicked out of their families and disowned. They struggle to find community, to be able to do something as basic as going to the bathroom in public. Josh, why the hell would somebody just want to deal with all that just because it's trendy? Trans people are marginalized in our society. And Josh says he didn't push his children to be cisgender. I would argue with him on that, because I feel like he comes from a background of very rigid gender roles. And I could be wrong about this, but number one, his background with the church, and number two, the way he talks about women as if we're a different species from him. I believe the way he has raised his children is probably with very strict gender roles, and while he may not disown his child from diverting from that, I don't believe it would be easy for his child to come out to him, because even if he reacted in a positive way, I still believe they'd be scared, because his demeanor and the way he demeans other people for not being like him, I believe his children have probably internalized that to some degree. And I could be wrong about that, but I do believe living in a society that is heavily heteronormative and cisnormative, it does impact people, and it may put up barriers, even if somebody comes from a very welcoming and accepting family that will accept them unconditionally. And I think Josh misses that whole thing. He thinks that because now we talk more about LGBTQIA identities a lot more openly, that suddenly there are no issues, and now everybody just is trying to be trendy and hop on a bandwagon. That's ridiculous. Can I just say that's ridiculous? No, nobody is doing that. And even if they are, that's a very small minority of people. Most people that are trans, they are because they are. That's just who they are. Like, it's not some phase or a fad, or they want to be that person who's different. I just find it really gross that he would say this, and then at the same time, and this is what really bugged me about this video, I'm getting a bit heated now, is he alluded to the fact that he's gonna get a lot of hate for saying this, and he's gonna be called transphobic. And in Canada, what he's saying could be
about this, because everybody, if you are not 120,000% with the trans movement, you are a transphobe, and you are labeled such. You are a Nazi, everything else. You're the worst person in the world. But as a dad, as a parent, as a person who wants to see his kids thrive, again, if you can have a balanced view on this, like it or not, the trans issue is here. You know, kids are trans, and
Sorry, I'm looking at my dog. She's being very dramatic, rolling. It's okay. But how it can be viewed as hate speech in Canada for what he's saying. And he says this all as if we've all become too sensitive little snowflakes. Josh, how about you respect other people's identities and you stay in your lane? You are allowed to criticize family vloggers for exploiting their children, for lying to their subscribers, to pushing unhealthy ideals, and to just being out for money. But I said that weird. I said I don't know why I said that. But if you do not know about trans rights, if you have nobody close to you who's trans and it's just some lofty issue that you can just think about and it's like a philosophy thing, then shut the hell up. Because this affects real people and what you are saying can harm real people. Josh's audience is a lot of people who come from the same background as him. White people, or at least white passing people who didn't grow up as a person of color because he only found out later in life that he was not white. And cisgender from religious backgrounds. And a lot of the people who watch his channel are women and mothers. So you are almost telling them that it's okay to basically tell their child, no, just wait until you're older to be your full self because I don't want to deal with it because what if you're wrong? That's fucked up. Josh, stop. You're really gross. The way you talk about marginalized identities is gross. It shows how ignorant and just how sheltered you are and how you only really see the world through your very narrow lens. Let people be who they are. And I don't say that as a way like I want to be clear here that I don't want to be one of those people that's like, you can be yourself, but it's none of my business. Because it is my business if people are being discriminated against, if they're facing violence, if they're struggling mentally because of the way they're treated in society. That is my business. That is all of our business. And I really hate when people are like, be who you are because that's none of my business. Like, yeah, that's not my business, but it's my business as a cisgender person to tell others cisgender people to do better. And yes, Josh, that includes you. Do better. Or stop talking about things like the LGBTQ identities. Stop talking about things like race or disability. Stop talking about women because you're causing more harm and spreading misinformation. Even if he's right about these Saccone-Jolys, it's still making it seem like it's more common for people to be faking something for attention than not, and that causes harm to the entire trans community. So please, Josh, stop. That's the end of this video. If you learned something or if it resonated with you, I guess, please give it a big thumbs up. If you have not already and you would like to see more of my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.